Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Now in this video, a Latino woman is reaching out to Black women, asking Black women not to abandon her community amid its concerns about the new administration's plans to dismantle the Civil Rights Act. Now in her initial video, she shared her findings after digging deep into the act and its potential fate under the new administration. She warns that the administration aims to destroy the act and introduce a new crime, being anti-Pamkala, which could lead to charges of prejudice against ethnicist Pamkala people. Now the Latino woman's plea to Black women comes after the 2024 presidential election results, which showed that Pamkala women, Latino women, and women of other races did not vote in favor of Vice President Kamala Harris to the same extent as Black women did. Now, this has led to feelings of disappointment, shock, and even betrayal among Black women. The situation highlights the complexities of intersectionality and solidarity among women of different racial and ethnic backgrounds. While some women are calling for unity and support, others are expressing frustration and hurt. Now, the Latino woman's video serves as a reminder that these conversations are necessary and that women must work together to address the challenges they face. With that said, let's take a look at her videos. I will be right back, and when I do, we talk more about this.
Good morning. I'm at the soccer game. It's already getting intense. I told y'all before I suffer from anxiety, so I have to watch the game in bits and pieces because I get stressed out, right? It's a state game, so... But anyway, later on, I'll be doing a video when I get home. I did a deep dive into the Civil Rights Act and how under this new administration, what they plan on doing. And in a nutshell, they plan on destroying it. And the new crime will be anti-white, just so that you know. We can be charged with being prejudiced against racist white people, just so that you know. But that's not what this video is about. This video, as you can see, the caption is called Dear Black Women. So, to my Black goddesses and queens, I will forever be apologetic that my community did not show up for you as they should have. Right? And I've seen a lot of videos where you guys are just ready to wash your hands of us. I want to reiterate that over 50% of us voted in the right direction. And that I really pray and I hope that you can see that. Because for the next 4 years, denaturalization is one thing, rolling back civil rights is another. As a community, we're going to need to stick together. And so my plea to you is today that you take the time while the MAGA hats are still out and the MAGA flags in conversations. And before you engage with someone, please go look at their Facebook, Instagram, whatever they have listed, search their name and know who you're befriending, right? Because if you go through all my page on TikTok, you know exactly who I was voting for. And I'm still very proud that I voted on the same side of history. However, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to and you didn't trust us. But if I could share a little bit with you, those in the Hispanic community that voted against their own rights, they are a very particular community. And I think if you pay close attention and you just watch, you see a pattern amongst them. Okay? People that look like me, dark skin, not many of us, right? Some of us, yeah. Not many of us. All right? We got people that come from certain states like Florida. Right? But New Yorkers, not many of us. But I just want to tell you that we need you. I need you. And I know that you're going to need us. So I hope some way, somehow, you can find a way to tell us apart and be in a community with those of us that were on the right side of history. I wouldn't want anybody else on my side, to be honest. You are the women that have survived it all and still continue to strive. It would be my honor to be on your team. It would be my honor to stand beside you and fight these next 4 years. So I hope we can come to some conclusion, and that you guys don't give up on all of us. The funny thing is, before the MAGA hats go away and the MAGA flags, I think you'll be able to see a pattern. Look for it. You'll see it. Okay? Anyway, mi gente, my black women, love you. Have a great day. I'm going to go back to watching this game that's super intense 2 minutes in. Love you guys. Bye. I want to honestly cover something today, right? As we talk about mass deportation. And I think the last largest one was under Eisenhower, as somebody said, Project Wetback. And it even sent back legal citizens, just so that you know. I think they ended up deporting about 1.3 million Mexicans with the help of the Mexican government. Now, as I say that, right, Trump's number is about 20 million. And while all these people that want to get rid of immigrants really don't understand the jobs in which they do in the U.S., and one of them is to feed us, because that's what they use migrants for. And so when you do deport all these people, there's going to be jobs like getting on the top of the roof. They're going to be farming jobs, and none of us are going to have any excuse as to why you don't have a job. But I digress. That wasn't my point I was trying to make. I just went off course there for one quick minute. It is estimating of costing billions, if not trillions of dollars to round up these people, to take them to court, to house them in the meantime, to then deport them. And they're already talking about creating camps to hold these people. Do you see where I'm going with this? See where I'm going with this? That is going to put our government into a greater deficit than it already is. It's going to take away the $100 billion that they contribute to our economy every year. And my first instinct is that I don't think these people are going to make it all the way home. That's what I think. Especially with his rhetoric so closely to Hitler's. But I digress. As at least 5.1 million legal citizens, immigrants or legal immigrants or documented immigrants, live with at least one family member that is not. I don't think these people thought this through. I don't think. The other part of that if you don't get legal status and your children are, I'm just going to go back to the last time Trump was president, and he had no problem separating 5,000 families at the border and taking their children away. Some of them who have not made it home. I'm speechless. Sometimes I listen to my own damn facts that I know, and sometimes it just hits me. It's sad. But did anybody else notice how red the United States was? And that he even won the swing states? And the only states that she won were the states that were typically hers? Are y'all not finding that odd? And the one thing different between us and them is that we're not going to storm the Capitol like a bunch of idiots and get people. You see what I'm saying? Has anybody noticed that? How red that board was? It wasn't even that red for Hillary. And she still won the popular vote, although she didn't win the electoral. But he won it all. And somehow I've been hearing that those numbers are not adding up. And he had Elon Musk right beside him. Could Elon Musk pull something like this off? The creator of robots, cars, spaceships. Just saying. I hope there's a Hail Mary coming, but I'm not holding out, because I know how corrupt the Republican Party is at this moment. So I digress. Y'all have a great day. Just want to share that. Good afternoon, mi gente. Or if you haven't already noticed, my profile is now not private anymore. I'm pretty sure the hate comments and the trolls will be coming because of my position on Kamala Harris. Let me say her name right. But I'm ready. I'm ready because I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to stand 10 toes down on facts, which brings me to my first subject of the day, right? And this is for Latinos, especially those ones that voted for Trump. And I know today you're feeling really proud of yourself and you're standing 10 toes down and you're just like, my president? Yeah. But as of 15 hours ago, he talked about, again, the mass deportation. So we all know that is the first thing on his agenda because he's going to have to please his base. The other thing that's happening is that he's got someone in his corner called Stephen Miller, and he is a white supremacist that has a really big hard-on for Latinos. So we already know, based on what Trump has said, if anybody needs a sound bite, I got you, right? But Trump already said that the way he's going to do this, it's with the Alien Enemies Act, right? But let's talk about a couple of things in order, right? I know that the first thing he's going to go for is undocumented immigrants. And I know you think it's going to stop there. But his party is already talking about denaturalization of citizenship. Now, you might ask, because I'm pretty sure you're going to ask, well, Brenda, what is that? And that's when they revoke the citizenship of people that are already citizens from countries that they deem enemies. So I know for a lot of my Latinos, I got this in the comments a lot as I was, advocating for Kamala Harris, is that I'm a citizen and I obey the law and therefore they're not coming for me. Well, under USC, look it up, 1451, it says the president has the right to take away your citizenship, especially those that have citizenship and they weren't born here. So while your children might be safe, it is clearly they're saying that you're not. But this is what you voted for, just so that you know. And the rest of us, you don't have us as a community anymore, unfortunately. You chose your side and now you have to live with it. But let's talk about it a little bit more, right? Because it says that if a citizen, if they deem, not you, that's the key word here. If they deem that you didn't deserve your citizenship, or you obtained it illegally, or you did it with sorry, I had to take a quick call. But if they deem that you've obtained it with misinformation, then they can also do that. Now let's go back to something he said so everybody can connect the dots. He said he was going to use the Alien Enemies Act to do so, where he would have declared war on illegal immigrants, the way he words them, undocumented immigrants or immigrants in general, right? And if you understand what the Alien Enemies Act is that he declares war on immigrants. Now, how would he do that, Brenda? You ask me. Well, hasn't his rhetoric been that you are poison in their blood and you're the vermin of the land? He's already declared war on you because of that. But I'm going to take it a step further. If you go watch, what did I say his name? Stephen Miller, the white supremacist, is that group of people believes that anybody who is not white is a threat to their race. Follow me so far? So having anybody in this country other than white, right, sleeping with their women threatens that they in the future will become a minority, which has already been said by the year 2028. And this is why this war has been declared on you. Now, everything I said you can go look up, but I'm going to go with the fashion of, you're going to call me a liar and you're going to say that it's not true. But please do not step into my comments until you've done your own research. I gave you a lot to look up. Now you can go do that. Again, you don't have to believe me, but when they start doing it, I don't want you to come run for me. And I want you to look at community to help. Let's protest. because this is what you voted for. And you did it without doing your research and knowing exactly what you were voting for. They used you for your vote, and then they're going to kick you out of this country. But y'all have a blessed day. And hey, if y'all start stitching this video and making lewd comments when I'm only stating facts, I'll start posting the ICE number on the top of every one of my posts so that everybody has it in their phone. Because along with being educated and knowing my stuff, I also can be super petty. Just thought I'd let you know. Now, this is specifically for my community, mi gente. This is the next video. I want you to save this video, and I will be making a lot of these, and we're going to do a side-by-side comparison and stick to facts. As of today's date, right, which is Friday the 7th or the 8th? 8th, I think. Okay? Gas prices are $3.09 average nationwide. Okay? The unemployment rate is 4.1 nationwide. Okay? Inflation is 2.4 nationwide. Currently, this administration is adding about 254 jobs per month, and the mortgage interest rate is about 6.9. What we are not going to do this time is that we're going to give the felon credit for what he did not do. So when everybody's talking about, oh, it's so much better, like these on this app that don't look up for things because they want to support their narrative, well, we're going to go, unfortunately, back in November, the interest rate was lower. And as soon as he gets to office, you see he's going to change. And we all know, although I know they're going to try it, that there's no way he could have impacted it in just this week. So I made sure to tell you guys the comparison, and I'll be back to give you more information on that. Mi gente, have a great day.
It's been less than 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and we're already witnessing a poignant moment in history. A Latino woman has taken to social media to plead with Black women not to abandon her community, and she's definitely not the first. Now, this emotional appeal comes after the Latino woman researched the Civil Rights Act and the potential consequences of the new administration's plans, warning of a possible rollback of civil rights and the introduction of anti-palm color prejudice laws. Now, this heartfelt plea highlights the complexities of intersectionality and solidarity among women of different racial and ethnic backgrounds. The Latino woman acknowledges the hurt and frustration felt by Black women and asks for understanding, support, and partnership in fighting against systemic injustices. But the dynamic between minority groups and the Black community has reached a critical juncture. Time and time again, other minority races have pursued actions that ultimately backfire, harming not only themselves but all minority groups, even the Black community. And when the consequences of their actions come to fruition, they inevitably turn to Black people, pleading for support and solidarity. However, when Black individuals express their frustration and exhaustion, stating that they can no longer bear the weight of fighting for everyone else, the response is often one of shock and outrage. The minority groups that had previously taken Black support for granted suddenly became tearful and accusatory, claiming that Black people are abandoning them. But the truth is that it's incredibly tiresome for Black people to constantly be expected to fight for everyone else's rights and interests. The emotional labor, the physical toll, and the mental strain of being the perpetual advocates for social justice can be overwhelming. And it's important to recognize that Black people have their own struggles. We have our own pain and our own needs. We cannot be expected to perpetually prioritize the concerns of others over our own. It's time for other minority groups to take responsibility for their actions and to start fighting for their own rights, rather than relying on the Black community to do it for them. You know, it's really frustrating to see minority groups, despite being warned, vote for policies that ultimately harm them. Now, this phenomenon is not new, as seen in the case of Latino people who voted for Donald Trump, only to face deportation later on. History has shown that minority groups are often the most vulnerable to policy changes. For instance, researchers highlighted the weakness in police data relating to victimization on the basis of ethnicity and sexuality, leading to inadequate support for these communities. Now, the sense of betrayal and frustration felt by my fellow Black brothers and sisters is understandable, especially when they've been warning other minority groups about the dangers of certain policies. It's like saying, "We told you so." And this time around, it seems like some people are taking a step back, saying, let's watch and see how this plays out. And honestly, it's hard to blame black people. After all, we're all going to be affected by these policy changes. The question now is, will minority groups finally learn from their mistakes and start voting in their own best interests? Only time will tell. But of course not, because they have been doing this over and over again. And now it's backfiring again. To be honest, this administration's policies will undoubtedly affect everyone, regardless of who they voted for. And one of the most concerning aspects is the threat of denaturalization and mass deportation. Denaturalization, the process of revoking someone's citizenship, is a drastic measure that can have devastating consequences. And this administration's stance on immigration and citizenship is alarming, and the potential for denaturalization to be used as a political tool is very real. Now, mass deportation is another policy that will have far-reaching consequences. Research has already shown that large-scale deportation efforts would be very disruptive to some industries and would hinder the current growth in employment, which has been driven in large part by increased immigration. Now, this would lead to job losses, not just for immigrants, but also for US-born workers. The economic impact of these policies will be felt by everyone. A study by the Brookings Institution found that deporting 11 million unauthorized immigrants would cost the U.S. economy $4.7 trillion over 10 years. And this is a staggering figure that would have severe consequences for the economy. I feel it's essential to recognize that these policies will not only affect immigrants, but also U.S.-born citizens. The economic, social, and cultural fabric of our society will be impacted. And it's crucial that we consider the long-term effects of these policies. This administration's policies on denaturalization and mass deportation will have far-reaching consequences that will affect everyone, regardless of who they voted for. Now, Donald Trump's promise to carry out the largest deportation program in American history is a step targeting unauthorized immigrants endorsed by the Republican Party's 2024 platform. And this policy is intended to increase employment of native-born workers, boosting economic growth, but new research by scholars at the Peterson Institute for International Economics finds that mass deportations would lower U.S. GDP and reduce employment through 2040 compared with what would happen if the policy were not implemented. Now, the Trump campaign assumes that employers would simply replace the deported workers with native workers, but the historical record shows that employer behavior is far more complicated than that. Past experience with deportations demonstrates that employers do not find it easy to replace such workers. Instead, they respond by investing in less labor-intensive technologies to sustain their businesses, or they simply decide not to expand their operations. And the net result is fewer people employed in key business sectors like services, agriculture, and manufacturing. In addition, those unauthorized immigrants aren't just workers. They are consumers too. Deporting them means less demand for groceries, housing, services, and other household needs. And this lower spending in turn reduces demand for workers in those sectors. And that reduced demand for workers in all types of jobs outweighs the reduction of supply of unauthorized workers. Contrary to the Trump campaign's assumption that deporting workers increases domestic employment, removing immigrants reduces jobs for other U.S. workers. Now, deportations would also drive inflation higher than the baseline through 2028 in both scenarios, but inflation would return to baseline by 2030. Now, the distribution of price changes across U.S. sectors varies, partly because the sectors are initially subject to different shocks to potential labor supply, and partly because production linkages across the U.S. and global economies differ in their exposure to international trade. Agriculture is projected to suffer the hardest, which is not surprising as up to 16% of that sector's workforce could be removed, resulting in higher prices. And in addition to the moral issue of rounding up millions of people and disrupting their families, workplaces, and livelihoods, Trump's America First proposal for mass deportations would raise prices, cost jobs, and harm the U.S. economy. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do my viewers have to say? Share your thoughts, your views in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video as I bring you another interesting video.